Well, hello out there, folks. Your friendly neighborhood Hatchet man, Brother Craig here. Welcome to the program. And as you see from the description there, this subject we've been on for the last 2 weeks, okay, deception. We decided to do deception part 3, deceivers and the deceived. And this is just a big move to communism, folks. And there's this huge deception out here, and this is this is so easy to find. It's so easy to know that these people are deceivers. Okay, it is so easy to find out the truth of the matter. It's a playbook that's been played time and time again. Okay, and they always appear to be the righteous ones. And with a compliant media, okay, and I'm not going to sit here and complain about the media, okay? They are what they are. We are at war. It's an information war. It's a spiritual war. It's a mental war. It's a moral war, okay? It's not a war with tanks and planes and submarines, all right? So when we look at wars that were with tanks and planes and submarines, did we sit back and complain that, hey, Hitler is building some tanks. Why won't he build us some? The war is not fair. Okay. And so we're not going to just complain. We're going to expose, and I'm going to encourage people on our side to develop our own ways to get our message out. Okay. Now I'm doing my part here. I'm trying to do it even better and bigger and in more creative ways. And this is what we all need to do, okay? The mainstream media, they are the enemy, okay? Just like Hitler, Hirohito, and Mussolini, they had factories, and then those factories, they produced the weapons of war. They produced them for their side. They didn't produce them on the free and open market, and America could go and purchase some military equipment. An odd thing that even today, now since Trump has been in office, this has stopped. But this country was purchasing airplane parts for fighter planes from China. Okay? And you think the Chinese are going to give you parts that are not going to break? Okay? My goodness. My goodness. So there's so much deception. The Democrats rolled out Kamala Harris, okay? So more deception, okay? Now, the deceivers, of course, the Demon-crat party, the mainstream media, those that are the deceived, okay? The people that they want to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They want you to literally vote for the people that want to end America as we know it and fundamentally transform. They want to complete the Barack Obama vision. They're so mad that Hillary couldn't complete the vision. And it was Obama's vision from day one, because he said as the countdown towards his inauguration, he gave a famous speech. He said, we're 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Okay? Donald Trump says, we're going to make America great again. All right? Anyone that loves this nation, not that it's a perfect nation, but anyone that loves the fundamentals of this nation want to improve this nation, not fundamentally transform this nation. And so we're going to stick Joe Biden in there, Kamala Harris, okay? And we have all these stupid never-Trumpers who run around talking about picking Donald Trump apart for his faults. Okay? How many times do I have to read the Bible to these people? Book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 10. As it is written, there is none righteous, no, not one. None righteous. Okay? None righteous. And so they pick apart Donald Trump as this is their excuse not to vote for Donald Trump. And whether they just don't vote at all or whether they actively go out and vote for the Democrat, either way, these people cannot credibly call themselves Christian. They cannot credibly call themselves conservative. They cannot credibly call themselves Republican. Okay? They are either fools of the highest order or they're evil. They're wicked. They are the classic, what Jesus talked about. They are the classic hireling, okay? From the book of John, I think that's chapter 10, the story of the hireling, okay? The true son really believes, really loves the Father, really loves the flock, loves the sheep, because the sheep belong to his Father, which is in heaven, okay? And so he stands to put himself at risk. He stands between any danger that comes to the flock. He's there, okay? The hireling is there just to get paid. And so he's not going to put himself at risk. He's not going to go out on a limb. He's not going to fight the wolf. He's not going to do it, okay? In a pandemic era, he's not going to risk his job to tell the truth. He's just going to follow along, okay? That's a hireling. And so these never Trumpers, these people that work at these think tanks, these in some media, okay, that have said for years and years and years, oh well, I'm a conservative. You know, I believe in national security, and I believe in low taxes. You know, I believe in the moral fiber of this country, and I just think Donald Trump is so reprehensible, you know, because he's a threat to the moral fiber of this country. And, you know, they're hoity-toity, you know, with their Harvard grammar and diction. Come on, Maximus, go. Call Maximus, please. And, I don't know why, when I started doing that imitation, the dog comes over and wants to play. Okay. So, but the truth of the matter is that these people, they're deceivers. Okay. And there's a special place in hell for people like this. See, this was the big issue, the religious, and we can make a connection here between the religious hierarchy in Jesus's day and even the religious hierarchy today, and just the leadership of all levels, okay? Religious leadership, political leadership. You know, remember now, I'm the guy that I link the two together, okay? On earth as it is in heaven, okay? That's the prayer. On earth as it is in heaven. There's a linkage to on earth. That's the civil law. Heaven, that's the spiritual realm. Okay. And so you have the functioning government. You have the functioning church. Okay. Each one has their role, and they're supposed to support one another, supplement one another, complement one another. Okay. We're not supposed to give up, you know, what God has given us. And I'm speaking to the church now. I'm speaking to Reverend Chickenfoot, okay? And the people that follow Reverend Chickenfoot, oh, he's a nice guy. Yeah, right. Yeah, nice guy. Go home, play with your children, nice guy, okay? We need real men in the world today, all right? We don't need nice guys, all right? You know, go play with your grandchildren. Go busy yourself somewhere, all right? We need real men in these pulpits in America. We need the Black Robe Regiment were religious leaders that taught the founding fathers, okay? The revolution that built this country got started in the church, and it was started by real men, okay? Not a bunch of soft, nice guys, real men, all right? And that's what it's going to take to restore America to her greatness. We're not going to restore this country. I mean, let's be honest now. I'm Generation X, all right? Nothing against my elders. I love my elders. I owe so much. All I know, I've learned from my elders, okay? Now, this doesn't apply to all elders, but the baby boom generation, the generation directly above my generation, Generation X, then above them, the silent generation, and above them, the GI generation. Most of the GI generation have gone on to glory now, okay? But there are a few still hanging around. But you do have those two generations above my generation, the silent generation and the baby boomer generation. And now, this is not all of them by any stretch of the imagination, but we have to admit, because of the condition of the country, that these two generations, there are more of them that are taking the nation into apostasy, that are taking the nation in this march towards communism and socialism under the guise of we're the nice people, the Republicans are mean, the Christians are mean, the Christians are exclusive, all you only can get to heaven through Jesus Christ. What's wrong with those people? Yeah, that's right. Okay? So it's under the guise of we're helping people. Okay? We want to feed people. Okay? Got a Bible verse for you today about feeding people. All right? Genesis chapter 25. You go ahead and pull it up now so when I get to it, you'll be ready. All right? But the condition has, we're to a breaking point, and it's on their watch of leadership. It's on their watch. Okay? And so, and I know especially with the baby boom generation, they're really, really outnumbered. Okay? Now, they were not so outnumbered with the silent generation, but still this march towards apostasy, this march towards wanting to do things like kick God out of the Democrat Party platform. They booed God. They booed the Boy Scouts. Okay. This is the types of things these people do at their party convention, which you're about to have another one. And it's just going to be a great big lie fest. Okay. And John Kasich is going to be the first speaker there, I understand. All right. Former Republican presidential wannabe, former governor of the great state of Ohio. All right. A never Trumper supreme. All right. A hireling. Okay. Read John chapter 10 and you will see John Kasich there. Okay. A hireling, not a true son. A true son cannot be talked out of being a true son. Okay. You can't do it. Okay. I love my heavenly Father. I am a true son of my Father in heaven. No one can talk me out of that. And so anyone that gets, apparently, you say, oh, well, Kasich was a Republican, now he's going to be a Democrat. No, he was always what he is. It's just becoming apparent. It's just becoming revealed. All right. So anyway, I'm being a bit discursive in my opening comments here, but this is the great deception. Okay. That's going on. Okay. With whether you look at this so-called virus, which we have a virus every year. Okay. The shutdown of the economy. These Democrats claim to love everybody, and they say we Christians, we're hateful and we're restrictive and we're better than thou and all that. Okay. Nothing could be further from the truth. Okay. We love people, and we love people so much that we are willing to go out on a limb. Okay. We don't just love people with lip service. We love people. We go out on a limb to show our love in the same way that our big brother, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, was lifted up on a cross. Okay. To show his love. Okay. Even to those that hated and despised him. Okay. When he said, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. All right. So we know, like I know when I step out, I know the hate that's coming. Okay. I know that if I were a Democrat, that the Democrats, to be able to do what I do, to articulate the way I articulate and to make mockery of the opposition and to explain things and make it so plain that a fool would not err, the Democrat Party would throw money at me by the suitcase load, millions of dollars. Okay. I mean, they pay semi-literate people like Al Sharpton millions of dollars to have a radio program and a TV program. You just look at the range of just total idiots that are multi-millionaires to spew lies and hatred. Okay. And so I know right up front, when I step out with the 7 C's, Christian faith, okay, conservative values, constitutional limits. Constitution limits people. It tells people what you cannot do. You cannot do this to the citizen. You must not do this to the citizen. You shall not do this to the citizen. It's illegal for you to do this to the citizen. See, the civil law tells the citizens what you can't do to each other. The Constitution tells the governing class, the government, those people, the power-hungry people, the Constitution tells them you shall not. You shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech and all of the whole First Amendment. You shall make no law abridging the right to own and bear arms. You shall make no law, okay? It limits them. So here I am, I'm giving you Christian faith, okay? And the only way to get to God is through my Lord and Savior, my big brother, Jesus Christ. The only way. Okay? And so, and I lead with that. Okay? The first of the 7 C's of a successful society is Christian faith. The second one is conservative values. What are we conserving? We're conserving an idea. Okay? And it's an idea that, with all due respect to my elders, there has not been good stewardship of this idea. And it is simply that freedom and rights are gifts from God Almighty. Okay? And the opposite idea is that freedom and rights are implemented by our fellow human beings, people that they're on our level. They're not God. They're just like you. They're just like me. They're a human being. They put their pants on one leg at a time. God didn't put them, give them his power. Okay? And so the rights we have are guaranteed at the moment of conception. But the Democrats, they want to say, well, the governor has the right, the president has the right, the congressman, the senators, certainly they say the Supreme Court has the right, okay, to determine what the limit of your freedom is, your life, okay? If the court says a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man, then that overrules what God said in the Bible in their view. Male and female created he them. It overrules it, okay? If the Bible says thou shalt not steal, the government says, well, if you have a 51% majority in Congress, you can. You see where we're going with this? Okay, and I could go on and on through the whole thing, but there are programs we have here. If you want to learn about the 7 C's of a successful society, just put that in the search bar at our website, thereallyrealdeal.com. The 5 words, thereallyrealdeal.com, okay? And you put in the search bar and you find it right up there, 7 C's of a successful society. So I'm not going to go through all of that right now. But, I want to highlight these various types of deception. Who are the deceivers? And of course, the deceived is the electorate. Okay, this big push towards socialism and communism, which really they're really the same thing. It's just a difference in how you get there. With communism, you get there overnight because you just pull a gun out and boom, the people that don't have guns, they are under communist dictatorship. And with socialism, it just takes a little longer because in America, people are armed, people are educated, people are, somewhat informed. Okay, and so it takes decades, and they've been working on it for decades, okay? Taking over centers of cultural influence, colleges, then lower education, Hollywood, okay? Now, all the advertising and all the CEOs in the corporate world, okay? So everything, sports even, okay? You see all the teams going along with this farce over the COVID. And here, these are great big strapping 27-year-old muscle-bound supermen. And I mean, the COVID, it takes out people who have comorbidities, most of them due to advanced age. Okay. There's no children get it. Okay. And so this lie that we need to shut school down and chill, oh, and then everyone, oh, well, we want to save the children. It's a deception. Okay. Children don't get it, nor do children transmit it. Okay. They just don't. Okay. It's something about um, their immune systems at that young tender age is something about it that they don't die. Now, the regular flu, children are susceptible to the regular flu, and children are hundreds of times more likely to die from the regular flu than from the Wuhan virus. Oh, excuse me. Brother Craig needs to slow down a little bit here. But anyway, so as I was saying, this march, the previous generations, and now my generation is here, and my generation is one that's growing into leadership. Okay, most of the reins of power are still firmly held by the baby boom generation, as the silent generation has, for the most part, a lot of them are in retirement. Okay, there's still a lot of them around. They still wield a lot of influence, but the active leadership of the nation and most of the nation's institutions, that's the baby boom generation. That's the generation that when they were young people like the millennials are now, they were in the streets flipping cars over. They were protesting the Vietnam War. They were spitting on soldiers, throwing red paint and ketchup, and in some cases, actual blood, throwing it on our brave soldiers coming home from Vietnam, calling them baby killers. Okay, not comprehending or not caring to comprehend the pain that they would have to go through when they see a little child is sent into their compound and the child has a doll, and they reach out to the child to hug the child or give the child some food or whatever, and then the toy blows up. Okay, and they see that over and over and over again. And so they get to the point where they can't let a child come in. Okay, that sears a soul. And then that seared soul comes home. Some reporter has captured it, and he doesn't care about truth. He cares about ratings. And that person is met at the airport by someone probably his own age who calls him a baby killer. And so that's why I say it's not all baby boomers that are ruining this country. Okay, it's just that the baby boomers that were flipping the cars over, commandeering college campuses, spitting on soldiers, those baby boomers, they outnumber. Numerically, there are more of them than the baby boomer who was the soldier. Okay, who is responsible. They outnumber them. Okay, and they've been more active in deception and taking over the various institutions of this nation. And we who have been on defense, okay, the watchmen on the wall, number one, we're outnumbered. And number two, to a great degree, many of us, we've been asleep at the switch, okay, because we're nice guys who mean well. We want to judge others as we judge ourselves. And so when you say, and I've been on this for many, many years, okay, 20 years, 12 of those years on the air, okay? And so, I mean, I did a 6-week TV series 10 years ago titled America's Next Great Crisis, all right? Predicted a lot of what we're going through right now, 10 years ago, okay? So I've been on this for a very, very long time. Now we're at a point where it's apparent to almost everyone. And God bless them, there's still some folks that just don't get it. But maybe I shouldn't say everyone, but it's apparent to most people. I think it's safe to say it's apparent to most people, okay? And so the statement is not a statement of hatred of my elders. I love my elders, as I said earlier. It's just that the generation that my elders belong to, that generationally, they've been outnumbered in their generation. They've been outnumbered, they've been outflanked, they've been outspent, they've been outstrategized. Okay. And so now my generation, the those of us, in our 40s and 50s, okay, it falls to us to take the baton of leadership from our elders and run our leg of the race. So now what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Okay. And so it's real easy to do an analysis to say what's wrong. But as a wise man once told me, Craig, and look, back then, I wasn't called Brother Craig. It was just Craig. Craig, well, actually, in this particular case, this gentleman I'm referring to, he would always call me Mr. Johnson. He would say, Mr. Johnson, I know what's wrong. What I need is a solution. Okay. So, solutions. All right. Number one, we have to stop this idea that because the media, we have to stop this wishing that the media would become fair. Okay. They are what they are. They are the enemy. Okay. And so when you know someone is your enemy, you have to call that person your enemy. Right. And so, and you have to be bold in sharing this with people, and you can't have fear that someone is going to say you're mean. Okay. Because again, this is, I've got a few notes here that I took down. Deception. This is the Demon-crat party. All right. They claim they love the little guy. They claim they love blacks. They claim they love women. They claim they love gays. They claim they love small business. And they claim that the Republicans love big business, love nothing but money, and they hate people. Okay. And so this is a huge deception that gets reinforced by advertising, reinforced in the university, reinforced on television programming, in the movies, even in the cartoons, in the sitcoms. Okay. I can remember being a kid and, or actually when I was as a kid, I watched Scooby-Doo, I think it was. It was Scooby-Doo. Okay. And the bad guy, there was always like some ghost, and he was trying to scare people from some property because there's an abandoned gold mine, and they thought it was no gold in it. Now this guy, he knows that there's gold, so he needs to scare everyone away. So he's pretending to be a ghost, and then at the end, they pull his mask off. It's Mr. Henderson, He's the old he worked at the mine. And so it plants in the minds of children that business is always about someone that's evil and greedy. And they never tell the story of all the wonderful things that capitalists do. That's why when I talk about the 7 C's of a successful society, one of those C's is capitalistic opportunity. Okay. And so, and we share the good things that capitalists do and people that participate in the free enterprise system, otherwise known as capitalism, okay, which is the intelligent, the intelligent putting out of capital, okay, and so the intelligent deployment of capital. Capital, something you've already accumulated. You want to put it at risk in an intelligent way in order to grow it. Okay. And Jesus talked about this in the parable of the master that went away, and he gave money to several of his servants. That it was the unit of money was called talents. Okay. And another telling of the same story, they had a different name for the unit of money, but it was basically the same thing. You give this one 5, and over a period of time, he's produced 10. He's doubled it. Okay. Gave the other one 2, he's produced 4. Gave the other one 1. He was afraid. He was a coward. And in one telling, he dug a hole and put it in the ground. And another telling, he wrapped it in a napkin and hid it in his house. Okay. And so when his master came back, he just had the same amount. All right. And so this is all the types of deception that's been going on. Like I said, we didn't get to this point where these college kids are running around doing this. Didn't happen overnight. This didn't happen overnight. Okay. Another cartoon they used to watch. This was one when I was a young father and I had children. It was Captain Planet. Okay. And basically it's the same premise as Scooby-Doo. Okay. There people want to exploit the planet, and they don't care about polluting or killing people or poisoning people. All they care about is profit. And see, this is the same lie that's constantly told. And, we are people that we put ourselves out on a limb. Okay. Christians are the most marginalized, most murdered. I mean, all over the world. China, the Middle East, Christians are murdered. Okay. Missionary, somewhere down in South America, a missionary went to some lost tribe that, they run around buck naked with, I mean, just living in huts, have bows and arrows and whatnot. And one of them shot the Christian missionary with a poison arrow. Okay. They're trying to, they're putting themselves on the line. Okay. And so whether it's someone that's primitive or whether it's a communist, whether it's a Muslim fundamentalist, whatever the case may be, we put ourselves at risk. Okay. The capitalist puts his capital at risk. Okay. You make an investment. There's no guarantee you're going to make money. But in the process of spending money, you'll spend to get a 10% profit, which means if you have $1 million you've already earned, it's safe. It's yours. You earned it already. Over your lifetime, you worked hard and accumulated, you got $1 million. You want to invest it and you want to make a 10% per year profit. So that means you're going to spend $1 million. You're going to earn 1,100,000 back. You got $100,000 profit. Okay. But in the process of earning that $100,000 profit, you could lose your whole $1 million. But in the process, you've bought supplies. You've leased real estate. Okay. You've hired workers. You've hired managers. You've hired lawyers. You've hired accountants. You've hired advertising people. Okay. And so the way you spend that $1 million, you purchase raw product. Okay. And so the person, if the raw product involves wood, for instance, there's a logger, there's a trucker, there's the petroleum. Okay. There's the guy that even sells them coffee in the morning so they can be alert and on the job. Okay. And we could go on and on and on of what we do to improve society in a very, very real way. We're not just a bunch of people who only have words. Okay. Now, the deceivers, on the other hand, all they have are words. Okay. Oh, this person is a greedy capitalist and they're exploiting you. Yeah, right. I gave your cousin a job. I gave your uncle a job. I gave your brother a job. Okay. I gave your mama a job. All right. How am I exploiting you? I have a job for you if you take a bath, get a haircut, and act like you can get up out of the bed at 6 or 7 in the morning so you can be on the job by 8. Where's the exploitation? Okay? And so we who are Christians and conservatives and capitalists, we have to be able to defend the life that we have here in America. Not just complain about people that want to tear it up. Okay? Why can't the preacher stand in the pulpit and preach on the story of the talents? Okay? Because every time I've heard the preacher, I've never heard a preacher stand and never, okay? Never been in church all my life. I've never heard a preacher preach on the story of the talents and relate that to capitalism or free enterprise. They always relate it to, well, what are your talents? Maybe, Your talent is you can be friendly to somebody, big whoop. Okay. Maybe your talent is, they make it into something that is, I don't know what these guys are doing, but they're not defending our way of life. Okay. They're not doing it right there in the church. Perfect opportunity. You have anywhere from 50 to 100 people to a small church. Some churches have 20,000 people. Perfect opportunity. Perfect. But they won't do it. They won't do it. And so a part of my job is to get them to do it, to trouble the water. Okay? To trouble the water. All right? Another story Jesus told, the lame man. Okay, there's all this talk about people that can't do for themselves. The lame man, an angel will come and trouble the water. It's the way it's written in the Bible. It's actually written that way. When the water gets troubled by this angel, the first person to jump into the water gets healed. Okay, and because he's been lame, the Bible says for 38 years. 38 years he's been laying around. And then every time someone else gets in the water first and they get healed, he's late. And so he comes back the next year to do the same thing. 38 years now. And Jesus tells the man to get up and walk. And he got up and he walked. Okay? Jesus didn't feel sorry for the man. He said, get up and walk. Get up off your hind parts and walk. What's so hard about that? All right. So, again, these Democrats, they say, well, we're the nice people. People like Brother Craig, listen at him. He just wants a person to get up and walk. Well, that's what Jesus did. Jesus said we could do it. You'd be surprised what people can do when you inspire them with the holy word of God Almighty. Okay? You'd be surprised what people can do. Genesis chapter 25. For people that say, oh, well, the Democrats, they love the poor. They want to feed the poor. No, they don't want to feed the poor. They want the poor in need of being fed. There is a difference. There is a difference. And again, I hate to keep, well, actually, no, I'm not even going to say that. A part of me, maybe I hate to keep jumping on preachers, but they need jumping on, okay? So somebody's got to do it. So I guess I'm elected the preacher jumper honor. I don't know. I've never heard it said this way. I've been saying it for years. I'm going to say it again, okay? Jacob and Esau. Chapter 25. I'm just going to read these 6 or 7 verses here. We're going to start with verse 27, all right? And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents, okay? Stop right there. If Esau is a cunning hunter, that means Esau is capable of feeding himself, okay? Remember that as we go forward. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob, okay? And Jacob sod pottage, okay? I guess that means he cooked a pot of beans, okay? And Esau came from the field and he was faint. Oh, poor Esau. He's faint. He's tired. I don't know what he's been doing out in the field all day. Joker should have been hunting. He should have came with a deer across his shoulder, okay? But he didn't come with a deer across his shoulder. It just says he was tired. He was faint, okay? So he comes to his brother Jacob, and Esau said, feed me. Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Okay. Saw a video. Stop again. Saw a video. Okay. Some crazy Negro woman is in a neighborhood that has been renovated. Okay. What they call gentrification. Okay. People come in, they purchase old rundown houses. They spend $100,000 renovating the house. Then they make the house like new, and then they sell it to someone, and that improves the neighborhood. Okay. People see that they can make money. All right. But they think, oh, that's evil. You're the evil. Remember what these kids have been taught now through the cartoons, even as, Captain Planet, evil. Okay. Scooby-Doo, evil capitalists. Okay. All of the movies. Okay. The bad guy is usually a capitalist. Okay. He's got some kind of scheme to make more money. So where's the scheme in? You're going to buy a house. Maybe you spend $100,000 buying a house. You spend $100,000 renovating the house. That $100,000 that you spent went to a lot of people. The carpenter, the roofer, the plumber, the electrician, the heating and air conditioning guy, the landscaper, the painter, okay? The ceramic and porcelain tile installer, okay? Even the person that comes after it's all done and cleans the place. They get a few $100s that they would not have ordinarily had, okay? So, what's the big deal here, okay? And so this Negro woman with a bullhorn is telling these white people that you need to give us this house because this used to be a black neighborhood and it has been gentrified. Okay? And there's no outcry from anyone in leadership. Where is the outcry? Where is the correction to this woman? It's, Black Lives Matter. That's all, And businesses they have $2 billion they've been donated by businesses. And these are communists pretending to like black people. Okay? They put a few Negroes out front and this white communist behind the scenes that's got that $2 billion that they're using that $2 billion to fund the takeover of America. Okay? And so this woman, she is saying what Esau said. You need to give me something. You need to give her anything. Go get your own house. And if the neighborhood has been gentrified, what ownership? You don't have a permanent ownership right in a neighborhood just because you grew up there. And while you were growing up there, your family, the adults, the neighbors, they let the neighborhood go down, down, down to the point where all the roofs are leaking, the floors are rotten. Okay? There's trash everywhere. And then industrious people come in, buy these houses up. The old owner, they got paid, okay? Taxes get caught up. And all kinds of workmen and craftsmen, they get paid to ply their trade. It's a win-win-win. Everybody wins. There are no losers here. And so this woman, and it was a group of them. It was just the video that I saw. It just had this woman was the one talking, but it was a bunch of them, mad because the neighborhood had been gentrified. It went from ugly to beautiful. I say they should have gotten there earlier. Now, verse 31. This is what Jacob's reply to Esau was when Esau, now remember now, this word of God here says Esau was a cunning hunter. Okay. So that sounds to me like the joker knows how to feed himself. Okay. He can just go out in the field and it'd be like going to Kroger. Kroger on 4 legs. Yeah. And pull his bow. Pow. Got him. Take him home, cut him up, throw him in the pot. Dinner is served. Real easy. But, what was he doing all day out in the field? Why did he not have any food to eat? And why, if he had a bad day hunting, why couldn't he just eat tomorrow? Why is he saying, I'm going to die if you don't feed me? Okay? Think about this in relation to what's happening today, okay? The Bible is written for today. It's written for people today, okay? Remember that. It's written for us, all right? Give you a good reason why it's written more for us than people in the past. In ancient Israel, when the king did wrong, the whole of Israel was punished. But the people didn't choose the king. God chose the king. In America today, you get to choose your leader. So if there's a punishment to be, or a benefit for doing well, or a punishment for doing evil, or for sin of omission, for refusing to do well or neglecting to do well, okay, whatever the case may be, if there's a punishment for that, because it's both occur. Sometimes people refuse to do right. Sometimes people neglect to do right. Sometimes people actively do wrong. All three do occur, but the net result is the same, is that in ancient Israel, the people had no say over who the king was. You and I have a say. So if there's a punishment going to come on a nation because of what leaders do, okay, and then we're going to get into Joe Biden, Donald Trump, and Kamala Harris, and Mike Pence. We're going to get into leaders, okay? But we chose Trump. We have a chance again to choose Trump again, or choose the communists, okay? Beijing, Biden, okay? So the punishments written in the Bible would be applicable. Which one would be more right for the punishment to be applicable? Obviously, the one where the people have a choice, okay? So I'm halfway through this, and I apologize for stretching this out, but it's just, this is so rich and there's so many applications to today, okay? So Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. So in other words, Jacob is telling Esau, man, there's no free lunch here. Well, you think you can fart around all day and not feed yourself, and I'm supposed to feed you for free? This is the Bible. This is the word of God. That's what Jacob said. Sell me your birthright if you want me to feed you. Now, the man could have went on a temporary fast. He could have said, well, man, I'm not selling you my birthright because my birthright is valuable. You know, I'm the firstborn, and my father would kill me if I was to despise my birthright by selling it. That's what he could have said. That's not what he said, though. That's not what he said. He could have said, well, I'll just fast for the day. I'm all right, brother. You don't want to share? Fine. Okay. Maybe I'll have better luck hunting tomorrow. No, let me read you what the joker said. Verse 32, and Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. Okay. Drama queen, anybody? I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright do to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And Esau swore unto him, and he sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Deception on several levels there. Deception on the part of, well, I can't really say it was a deception on the part of Jacob. It was a shrewd business transaction on the part of Jacob. But Esau deceived himself. Let me reread what Esau said, and you think about this. Okay, and apply this to today, and people think, oh, if I don't get that $600 from the government, or, you know, people that live in the projects, oh, if I don't get that welfare check in that welfare apartment, okay, here you are, third and fourth generation living with cockroaches and crime, okay? But, you know, you think you can't live without it. All right. So, and Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. Okay. This joker, big, strong, healthy. I mean, you know, after Jacob, later on in the story, when Jacob went in and deceived their father by putting the animal skin on his arm, pretending to be hairy, so that his father would give him the blessing. Okay, the brother had already sold it to him, so it was his. Okay, he had sold it to him. He despised it. He didn't take care of it. He gave it up. And so when he went and he did the other half of it, he got it from his brother. Now he's going to finagle it from his dad. Okay. So Esau threatened to kill him. And Jacob took it that he could kill him, so he fled. So obviously this is a strong, strapping guy. This is not some weakling that's, hasn't eaten in 2 months. And if he doesn't get sustenance, he's literally going to die. And so this is self-deception. We think we cannot do certain things. And the word of God says, I can do all things through him that strengtheneth me. All things, not some things, all things. All right? So, deception. And so, now, let's apply this to the teachings. This is actively taught that you can't do things. Okay? Reminds me of, I think it's been maybe 4 years ago, my friend, my big brother, Don Blake, one of his grandchildren attends a high school in Glen Allen, where this is a very wealthy section of Henrico County, the county that I live in, by the way. Very wealthy. Henrico is a wealthy county overall. Glen Allen is one of the wealthier parts of a wealthy county. All right. No poor people attend Glen Allen High School. So one of his grandchildren comes home crying because on Black History Month, a Black Studies professor from Virginia Commonwealth University, okay, my alma mater, VCU, did a video presentation called The Great Race. And they styled it as a race pitting black against white automatically. The black kids and the white kids are at a starting line and the gun is shot. And actually they have it as the white kids are like way up ahead of them. And then all these obstacles pop up on the side of the track where the black kids run. And it's a little 4-minute video. And so by the time they get to the end of this video, the point that they've made is that the black kids don't stand a chance to succeed in America. Here, richest country on the planet. You've just had, matter of fact, at the time, the president was black, okay? Obama was in office. So you have black billionaires, black president, black senators, black congressmen, black everything, okay? People can be, and the reason people come here is because you can start at nothing and end at something, okay? Unlike many places in the world where if you're born poor, you have a 99.99% chance you're going to die poor, okay? Not so in America. Not so. But so this young girl comes home crying because for the whole lifetime, from kindergarten to high school, her whole life has been not seeing color, getting along with all, and Henrico is an extremely diverse population, white, Black, Hispanic, Asian from many, many nationalities. Okay. I go to the Costco out in Glen Allen and it looks like the United Nations there. Very diverse, and all are successful. They're all successful because the cost of real estate in Glen Allen is through the roof. Okay. Many people have $500,000 homes, 600, 700, 800, some $1 million homes. Okay. It's, there's no poverty in Glen Allen, but they come to a school where the children of wealthy parents, at a minimum, solid middle class, okay, solid middle class to wealthy, and they have these children fighting each other because a video has been shown talking about historic obstacles. And so the local news media came, and I was a part of the, both Don and I were interviewed, and this thing, it went around the world, literally. And I even wrote an article about it. As a matter of fact, the article is up at my website. You can just, wow, now I need to think of the title of the article. Okay, Poverty Pimps is in the title. So if you go to the website and put Poverty Pimps in the search bar, white guilt, okay, that's in the title. Put that in the title, and you'll be able to pull my article up. And in my article is included the 4-minute video presentation that the professor did at this high school for Black History Month, and also about a 4-minute interview that I did discussing this on Fox News. And so all that's a part of it. But my point is, this is a great deception where people are convinced that they can't do something that they obviously already have been doing. Okay, so America obviously has already overcome racism. Okay, and yet there are people, young people, being actively taught that racism is this insurmountable obstacle. This is deception. And this gets these people angry. And what angers me is not so much that the Democrats are liars, because how many years have I been telling you these people are liars from the pit of hell? Okay, not the periphery of hell, the pit of hell. I know this, and most people know this. The thing that angers me is the lack of pushback from our side. We just allow this. We allow this. Okay. And so, but again, deceit. Okay. Deceit. Okay. Black Lives Matter. Black lives don't matter to Black Lives Matter. Okay. They don't. They use all of this. And this is nothing but the Cloward and Piven strategy. Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven, a husband and wife team of sociologists who taught at Columbia University. They wrote about this back in 1966, and it's been a plan ever since that they are going to destroy capitalism by overloading demands on the government. And their test case was New York City Welfare Department. They put up billboards advertising welfare. It's like, if you don't know that you need welfare, maybe you don't need welfare. Okay, just like Esau did not need a bowl of soup. He didn't need it, but something in him made him think he was going to die if he didn't eat right then. And so something eternal, his birthright, was exchanged for something temporal, a bowl of food, temporary sustenance. You're going to be hungry again tomorrow, next week, next month. Okay, you have to eat every day, or at least every 2 or 3 days, you have to eat. Okay, this is temporal, a temporary meal, but your birthright is eternal. And so here we are as Americans, as Christians, as sons and daughters of the living God, we have a birthright, and we are exchanging that birthright. Okay, this is the meaning of the story here. This is what it means. I don't know why preachers won't preach on this. This is the meaning of the story. You have something eternal. You're exchanging it for a bowl of beans. And your bowl of beans might be different from the next person's bowl of beans. But you think it's going to be given to you for free, that you don't have to give up your birthright? free health care, free food, a free apartment, free college education, free this, free that. Most of us, our grandmother told us there's no such thing as free. She was right. There isn't. There's no such thing as free. That's a myth. Anyway, the various types of bowls of beans, okay? Corporate welfare, crony capitalism. How many of you knew that Amazon Corporation it's Jeff Bezos, the richest man on the planet, okay? His company never made a profit until he got a contract, a computer contract with the CIA. And Amazon started out as selling books. Now they sell everything. And didn't turn a profit until they got a huge, huge CIA contract, okay, to provide cloud services to the CIA, okay? And now Jeff Bezos owns one of the two most prominent newspapers in the country, okay? And he's right there in Washington, D.C., okay? The Washington Post. And so, you know, the other being the New York Times, both far left wing, far left wing, actually communist, okay? And so, but the deception continues that the Democrats support the little guy, the Republicans support the rich. And you see Bill Gates, second richest man, Democrat, okay? Warren Buffett in the top 5, Democrat, okay? Steyer, he's not in the top 10 of billionaires, but he is a billionaire, Democrat, okay? You go on and on and on. My home state senator, Senator Mark Warner, the richest of the 100 senators. And this is a rich club. He's the richest. And he's not an old guy that, you know, built a business the old-fashioned way. He earned it. No, he had a crony government hookup when he got a government job. He was an aide to Connecticut Senator Chris Dodd. He found out about the federal government giving away licenses for this new business called cellular telephone, okay? And he used his government contacts to assemble a group of businessmen to start a company called Alltel, in which, even though Warner brought no money, because he was just an aide to a senator, he brought no money to the table, but he got a big chunk of ownership of Alltel. And so now he's worth several $100 million, okay? And so whenever he's interviewed about it, you know, in his pleasant sounding, non-threatening tone, you know, oh, well, you know, I'm Mark Warner. I'm just a super cool, unflappable guy. And, you know, I'm harmless. I'm a nice guy, but I'm a smart businessman because, yeah, you know, people like to say that I'm filthy rich, but really I just, you know, I got lucky. I got in at the early point of the cellular industry, and I held on to my stock where a lot of people, they sold theirs, and the only thing that happened is the stock did well, and you know, I'm so very thankful and humbled, and you know, and I've never seen anyone even, you know, and this guy runs for re-election, and I've never seen anyone really challenge him on this. I've never seen it. But the myth, the deception persists that these Democrats are the champion of the little guy. And so, you know, and the Republicans, that we're the evil rich people. Okay? So anyway, I've been on that subject enough. One more subject for today, and then we're going to wrap it up. And this is still related to the deceit, the Black Lives Matter and the Democrats in the deceit, but this time it's the racial deceit, okay? And now they trot out Kamala Harris. They want to make you think Donald Trump is a racist. Joe Biden is not. Okay. And Joe Biden has a long history. He's racist. He's mean. He's nasty. And the man is stupid. He's ignorant. Okay. He plagiarizes. He openly plagiarizes. Okay. He gets caught and he does it repeatedly. Okay. So he's like a petty thief that goes to jail 5 times over stealing less than $100, okay, and just keeps getting caught, okay. But because he's a Democrat, the media, they cover for him, and so and then the so-called conservative media, they're so busy trying to be fair and balanced, they don't go after the man with brass knuckles the way I would do if I ever had a chance to interview him. I would knock that joker silly, metaphorically speaking, of course, but he wouldn't know what hit him. And I mean, this is, you can pull, I have videos of him up on my Facebook page of, a young Joe Biden. He was bald even as he was in his 30s. He was, had the, what do you call it? The Bozo the Clown look with, with the hair down here. He had that going on in his 30s. And, I think someone said he was in some sort of accident and he had a brain aneurysm. And, I don't know if he was ever bright before that, but he had brain surgery and almost died. Okay. So, I don't know if that has anything to do with, and he's in a state of dementia at this point in his life. But the guy, even prior to the dementia, he was never bright. He was never bright, okay? And he's always been mean. He's always been nasty. I've heard many speeches that Joe Biden has given. He tells these black audiences that Republicans are going to put them back in chains, okay? Republicans took the chains off. It's the Democrats that had the chains, and then after Republicans took the chains off, Democrats created laws to further lock blacks down. And again, this is a deception, okay? The average black person thinks the Republicans were the slave owners and the Democrats were the good guys, okay? So the whole thing is upside down. The whole thing is upside down. And all it takes is more and more of us telling the truth. That's all it takes, okay? So you have this Kamala Harris now, okay? So to cover for him being this racist his whole life, to include the 1990s crime bill where they referred to young black men as quote unquote super predators. This is the term they used, super predators, okay? And so the crime bill was designed. And now I perfectly understand some of the rationale. I'm just going to speak the truth here. I might get in a little bit of trouble in some circles, but I'm a truth teller. Trouble is my middle name. I don't care. Okay. But this was back during the crack cocaine epidemic. I think crack was like a new form of cocaine, if I remember correctly, a cheaper form. They made it some kind of way that they made it, your average person could make it. They could take the expensive powder cocaine that they make south of the border, and maybe that's more of a complicated way to make it. But then these young thugs could take $100 worth of real cocaine, for lack of a better word, and something that they do to it, and they could make $1,000 worth of crack cocaine. But it's a lot more addictive, okay? And so there were all these turf wars, these young kids making money hand over fist with this new type of cocaine. And so the black ordinary people in these neighborhoods that just wanted to live their life and go to work and come home and not be shot, they cried out. I remember this. They cried out, you have to do something about this. And see, be careful whenever you ask the government to do something, because they sure enough will do something. And you're not often are you going to like what they do, okay? And it's just like a doctor giving you medication. almost all, not all, but almost all medications have side effects. So the and maybe a lot of these guys, they were super predators. Okay, I'm not going to treat Democrats the way they treat us. Okay, the way they treat us. If a Republican had said the term super predator, you'd hear about it on the news every day. Okay, they would rub it in our faces. All right, and so, but there's enough truth out there that I can just tell the truth in the proper way. I don't have to embellish. I don't have to lie. Okay, I don't have to do these things. And so there was some rationale for ramping up law enforcement in black neighborhoods because black drug dealers in their gang turf wars were killing innocent people, and the innocent people cried out for something to be done. So the something got done, and I'm not sure if it was the crime bill that did it, but over a generation, as the population of young people in their 20s, as they aged, and the effects of aborticide with lowering birth rates, you had the 20-somethings that replaced those as they moved into their 30s and 40s. They were fewer. And so it was a generational thing, and crime came down. Okay. And that's not to say that the law enforcement didn't help. It was the two things working together, but the crime came down. And so now, fast forward 30 years later, a lot of these people are still imprisoned. And some in the big sweep of crime, you sweep up some that maybe they were innocent, or maybe they had a little small connection to it, and they got caught up. There was a very famous case of a young lady at Hampton University. Her boyfriend was a drug dealer. She was a student at Hampton University, a very elite university, and I had the opportunity to meet the young lady and her parents several years ago after she had been let out of prison by former President Bill Clinton. Okay, and she had been in prison for a number of years, and this was because her boyfriend was the drug dealer, and I don't know exactly what they got her on. He got killed, and they got her for her connection to him. So you have people like that got caught up in this. Okay, and so on a large scale now, President Trump is doing prison reform and having these people come out. So again, the Democrats lock people up, and I'm not saying it's 100% wrong what Democrats did, but it's a proven fact that they did it. Okay, we can have a separate debate over the specifics, but they did it. This is a part of the record. This is known. This is a fact. This is indisputable. And it's also known and an indisputable fact that was not Barack Obama, but it was President Trump that put forth a crime bill that allowed some of those some of them needed to stay there, but not all of them. Okay. A very famous woman, as a matter of fact, I think her last name was Johnson. She was locked up. She was not a seller. She was a user. And somehow she got herself locked up by being, multiple times going to prison, and then in combination with other little petty crimes. And then it gets to the point where you have what they call a rap sheet. And so here now she's in there, and she's reformed herself. After all, it's called the Department of Corrections. Well, the lady got corrected. All right. And so Trump gets her out and does this bill where they do a reforming of prison, what they call a prison reform bill, and Trump gets no credit. And so it's still that the Democrats are the good guys racially, the Republicans are the racists, but yet and still Biden needs to go get what he said he was going to select a woman of color. So no one else was considered. It was just women who were a racial minority. Okay. A woman other than a white woman. All right. And so But that doesn't really cover for, I mean, and just here recently, this man has said, if you can't figure out that you need to vote for me, you ain't black. And then about 2 weeks ago, he was being interviewed by a Hispanic news reporter. Blacks were not even a part of the conversation. It was about his outreach to Hispanic community. So he said, well, your community, you're very diverse. Unlike those African Americans, with very few exceptions, those African Americans, they're not diverse at all. They all think alike. The man actually said that. And blacks were not even, the lady didn't ask him, Vice President Biden, would you please discuss Hispanic and black voter outreach? Blacks were not even a part of her question. But he went there. Okay, and so now this woman is trotted out as, okay, here we go, it's historic. It's just like Barack Obama. And yet and still, and this is the final thing I'm going to say, folks, and then we're going to shut it down for the day, okay? I'm going to compare the media treatment of this Kamala Harris and Barack Obama to how they treat Clarence Thomas and the backgrounds, okay? Which one of the three, or it could be more than one, of those three, Kamala Harris and Barack Obama, did they have the classic prototypical African American experience of rising from poverty to high accomplishment? Or did Clarence Thomas have that? Okay. Now there's a documentary that's been out for probably 6 or 7 months now called Created Equal. And it's about the life of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. This man grew up in abject poverty, knew what it was like to miss a meal, not just a meal, okay? Miss many meals. And yet he didn't sell his soul to Satan like Esau did, okay? This man really missed meals, okay? He was literally like a homeless child, had to be taken in by his grandfather. And his grandfather was a Catholic, so he sent Clarence to Catholic school. And so then he wanted to be a priest. He went to seminary, encountered racism in the seminary, which was like lily white. The Catholic seminary is lily white. He's one of very, very few blacks there. And he gets disillusioned and descends into black nationalism, Nation of Islam, Malcolm X, Huey Newton, the Black Panthers, all, the more radical, the better, as a way to assuage the anger he felt. Because for one thing, his grandfather put him out of the house when he dropped out of seminary. Because grandfather, was a no-nonsense guy. And he's like, there's racism in the world. And just because something doesn't go your way or someone treats you bad, you don't just give up and walk away. That was his grandfather. He said what he meant and he meant what he said, But he ended up, and it took him a while, but he came back to himself when he saw that all this radicalism, which is like an earlier version of Black Lives Matter today, okay? Clarence Thomas came back to his Christian roots and decided that he was going to buckle down, go back to school, finish his degree, and make something of himself in spite of obstacles, and not whine and cry and be quote unquote angry. Okay. He literally says he prayed to God, God, please take this anger away from me. Okay. That's the Clarence Thomas story. Okay. Authentically black. Okay. I think they, from what they would call the Geechees in Alabama. Okay. It was Alabama or South Carolina, but they have their own dialect that is a remnant from when they were captured by other blacks in Africa and brought to America and, sold to white people as slaves. Okay. So I have to add that because that's how it happened. Other blacks captured them, sold them to white people, brought them to America. But because they had their little close-knit community, their language survived. Okay. And so that's the language he spoke as a child. And so this is like a real story. This is a true Horatio Alger story. Abject poverty, homeless, extended family takes you in. Meet real racism. Get despondent. Pray to God. Come back to yourself. Ends up working for Reagan in the EEOC, Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and then appointed to the Supreme Court, highest court in the land. That's the story. Now, in this guy, there is a museum dedicated to Black history in Washington, D.C. This man, Justice Clarence Thomas, who has written over 600 opinions, 30% more than any other current member of the Supreme Court. 30% more now, okay? 30% more. Over 600 opinions he's written. He is the longest serving member of the Supreme Court currently. He's not even mentioned in the Black History Museum. He's not mentioned. Now let's look at Barack Obama and this Kamala Harris. First of all, there's no authentic blackness in their DNA, either of them. And I'm not talking about the outer shell. I'm talking about the inner experience that would make you have a claim to say, I am African American. All right. Now, for me, I'm just American. Okay. But all right, let's just to be clear. But there are many people that they want to label themselves as African American. So if you label yourself African American, you look at Barack Obama. He had a white mother from Kansas, a communist, by the way, and a black father from Kenya, another communist, by the way. Okay. So the black side of him is from a foreign country, Kenya. Okay. He's not from the deep South or from a hard scrabble city, the streets of Philly, the streets of San Francisco. No. Not even the streets of Chicago. Joke was brought up in Hawaii. Okay. Indonesia. So he learns how to take America down from all the communists around him. He had no love of America. Now, Kamala Harris. And before we go from Obama, raised by his grandparents, the white grandparents, nothing wrong with any of this now, but just dealing with fact. And the grandmother was a bank executive, a vice president of a bank. Okay, so there was no poverty. Went to the top private school in the whole state of Hawaii. Contrast that with Clarence Thomas, abject poverty, and over here you got a little preppy boy, a rich kid. All right, Kamala Harris, father from Jamaica, not a Rastafarian dope smoking Jamaican as she tried to pretend in one of her interviews. When they were talking about marijuana, how she locked all these people up for marijuana use, but yet, didn't you smoke marijuana when you were in college? Oh, well, yeah, of course, I can't help it. I'm Jamaican. And her father was so upset with her because, he's a dignified Jamaican. He's not a street Jamaican. This man is educated. Okay? I mean, really educated, not, everyone that's educated is not really educated. This man is really educated, speaks the King's English, okay? An economist. And the mother is from India, an epidemiologist, okay? So again, here she grows up in an affluent family, not, this hard scrabbling. She's in the debate talking about, you were against busing and there was a 5-year-old girl who needed to be bused to go to a better school. That 5-year-old girl was me. She is a liar. She is a liar. She didn't need to be bused in order to get an opportunity. She did not. She is a deceiver. Okay. And so we need to just, anyway, that's enough of that. That that's enough of that. But this is just more of the deception that's going on. And we need to let that be that. And I'm just going to pray over you all now, and just ask that the Lord would bless you and keep you, that the Lord would make his face to shine above you, upon you, and be gracious unto you, and that the Lord would lift his countenance up upon you, each and every one of you, and give you peace. And of course, that is certainly the peace that surpasses all understanding, with so much going on in the world today. And yeah, and I have to cut our little chat short because I won't have any peace if I keep going. I'll tell you, there's so much going on, and the deception, it does get to be ugly at times. But you all out there, I pray that you just keep faith and do your part. Okay, do your part. Do all, do all, do all that you can. And after you've done all, just stand on that, and let God do the rest. And we're going to see you next week, folks. And I love you all out there, and God bless you.